Okay.
Yeah, hello again. This is Dr. Robert Young with Rich and from Phoenix, Arizona, and speaking
Tucson.
about we're speaking about the solution to the pollution. We're speaking about one sickness, one dis-ease, and one treatment. And that one sickness and one disease is the over-acidification of the blood, and then interstitial fluids that, if not properly eliminated through the 4 or 5 channels of elimination, uh, will cause, a variety of different diseases, from irritation to inflammation to induration to ulceration and then to degeneration. The one treatment is to open up the channels of elimination, improve systemic, circulation, both blood, interstitial, and lymphatic circulation, and to eliminate the contributing toxic factors that are contributing to the pollutions within our solutions. And when we do that, then we experience not inflammation, we experience the unification of all organs and organ systems to enervation. So if we want to move from inflammation or irritation, we need and move to energy, life force. Here again, life force energy, and move away from enervation, but to better circulation and light and vitality and wellness. Then we have to open up the channels of elimination. We have to begin the process of building healthy blood, which becomes our new body cells. And we do that with what we eat. We do that with what we drink. We do that with what we breathe. We do that with what we think. We do that with what we feel. We do this with how we believe. And so this is what we would refer to as our lifestyle. So I know you had some additional questions. So why don't you go ahead and we can.
One of them was with the arginine. I thought I heard you say on one of your videos with an older man, a fairly recent one, that he could put the arginine in his green drinks or his smoothies.
Yeah, it's better not. That's when you're doing colon hydrotherapy. You add that in there. But when you're doing this alone, you take it first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and a couple of 3 times during the day, and you take it by itself in a small glass of water, and you take that orally.
So how much time should there be between taking that and, say, the 4 salts, which I take throughout the day?
Yeah, well, you take that based upon pH of the urine. So that's based upon any time your pH of your urine drops below 7.2. But ideally, to keep your pH, in an alkaline state, ideally, for the interstitial fluids at a pH of 8.4, or your intestines at a pH of 8.4, where this is where blood is made, this healing takes place in an alkaline environment, then you would take it, you would take the 4 salts anytime after you urinate and test your urine that the pH of that urine drops below 7.2. Then, of course, you would take a scoop of 4 salts in approximately 4 ounces or 120 mLs of distilled or alkaline water.
Right. Yeah, I have these enzymatic strips. Okay.
Yeah. So
and
those
it goes up to 8.0. But the color on the color chart thing, there's so little difference between 7.6 and 8.0.
Yeah, you need increments. You need increments of 0.5, 0.5. So it starts at 5 or 5.5 and goes up to 9. So you need a range that ranges from 5 to 9, so that you can actually differentiate between these different colors that are being expressed on the pH Hydrin paper.
Yeah. So is that the brand pH Hydrin? Is that the?
Yeah, pH Hydrin. Yeah, PHY. Yeah, Hydrin.
Yeah,
D-R-I-O-N, yeah.
I
Now,
have a, yeah, I have an old one, but
yeah, see what those are in greater
but
increments, yeah.
that's the whole range. So that's old.
Yeah, that's
I don't
0 to
use that anymore.
14, yeah. 0 to 14 is a little,
Yeah.
that goes
uh,
in 1.0 increments, but you wanna go to
right.
to 0.5 increments.
Well, according to this one that I'm using now, I'm pretty close to, I'm definitely above 7.6, and I'm probably closer
Great.
to 8, depending on how you read it. But the color of the strip when you test it is lighter than what it shows on the thing. So
Well, it's
anyway,
yeah, that's the way it comes. It's reacting to the chemicals or the acids in your urine. So there's
right,
reagents in the strip that react to
yeah.
that change the color. Yes,
But the arginine should be taken, separately
separately.
4 times
Yeah.
a day, kind
Hmm.
of by itself. I try to do that with the like in the morning. I have my aloe vera aloe vera juice with the clay, and then I wait a while, and I have my 4 salts. But sometimes I've been putting the arginine in with the 4 salts, but
Yeah,
I guess that's
I would take the L-arginine second, and then third, I would take the 4 salts last.
right. Right.
Hmm.
Okay. Let me see what else I got here. Is there any other non-invasive medical test that you would recommend?
Well, in your financial situation, based upon
Oh,
symptomology and testing your pH, I don't know of anything that I would take money to do more testing, uh, rather to invest those funds into the actual treatment protocols.
yeah. Well, I do have Medicare, so it would be a copay situation. But sometimes some of those tests can still be, a few $100s or
Yeah, the only
whatever.
tests that anatomically that would probably be covered under your Medicare would be ultrasound. It's non-radioactive, non-invasive. So
Mhm.
you could do a abdominal ultrasound. You could do a pelvic ultrasound. You could also do an ultrasound of your carotid arteries,
Uh-huh.
uh, your jugular vein to make sure that they're clear, because there may
Uh-huh.
be some blockages that are preventing, blood to flow freely to the cranial area. So I would do a neck thyroid ultrasound. I would do a upper and lower abdominal ultrasound, and I would do a pelvic ultrasound.
Mhm.
Those are what I just described to you based upon the way Medicare bills. I just named off about 6 or 7 tests
Mhm.
because the thyroid is a separate test. The jugular
Mhm.
or carotid artery is a separate test. The abdominal could be separate, but that would test the liver and the pancreas, the gallbladder.
Mhm.
And then, the others that you would test would be the pelvic area, which would be to test the bladder and the prostate. The abdominal would also pick up the kidneys, which would be a separate test. And the medical profession breaks things up. Medicare breaks things up. So getting a prescription for all those tests would be nothing short of a miracle, which is unfortunate because how do you know what's going on in your organs anatomically, let alone functionally or physiologically, if you don't do these tests?
Mhm.
So the other thing was you can go in and have a blood test, which would be a comprehensive blood count with chemistry, and you could also get a prostate specific antigen or a PSA test. Uh, those would all be non-invasive, other than the fact they would draw money, not money, but yeah, they would do that, but draw blood from your vein. And other than that, They do have cancer antigen tests, but they're not definitive, and it's anatomically it's better to look at those using ultrasound. And the blood is not a good fluid to test uh, for these types of parameters. It's better to test the biochemistry of the interstitial fluids to really understand if you're in decompensated acidosis, because the blood tries to push everything that's nasty and awful that you're eating or drinking or thinking. It pushes all that waste out into the interstitium. That's where the show's going on. And in Houston, Texas, if you're an astronaut, you would be able to ask for that test. But I don't believe that there's any facilities uh, that are doing interstitial fluid biochemistry tests, functionality tests in Arizona, period.
Mm, yeah.
Both
Well,
alternative
you
or
know, for any tests,
allopathic.
I have to go through my primary care doctor on my plan, you know, and I
Well,
actually have
ask
I
him.
at she I actually have a pretty good doctor. She's I mean, relatively speaking, she's integrative. She's gone through the integrative program at the U of A, and so I feel comfortable talking to her about alternative stuff, and
Well,
she
tell her about
recommend
your neuropathy, because that's a circulation
yeah,
problem, and you want to
right.
check the main arteries and veins in your legs, and you want to check them in your neck, and those are two separate tests. But you're also
Mhm.
concerned, especially if you have frequent urination at night, you want to test the bladder and the prostate, and it's probably a good idea to check the midsection of your body. So you want to check the health of the liver and the gallbladder and the pancreas and then of course they can pick up the kidneys just to make sure there's no stones or cysts or lesions in any of those organs or glands. But she's going to have to write several different prescriptions on that. I
Right.
don't I don't think she can order a
She,
whole body ultrasound.
yeah, she did. Well, she did. I mean, it's been a while since I talked to her, but she did have me. I think I told you this before. Get a echocardiogram, because they wanted to check
Yeah,
my
but that
heart to see
yeah,
if
but that
there's anything related to circulation. But
Yeah, but that doesn't tell us anatomically what's going on. So that's
no,
just not enough.
no.
I'm
But
sorry.
she
You know.
did say through a message from her secretary, that they couldn't tell me much more until I got the colonoscopy.
No, no, you want to do ultrasounds. Nothing
No, but I mean
invasive.
but that was in the context of the intestinal issues.
Yeah.
I haven't really talked to her that much about the edema and all that, the
Well,
circulation. So,
the edema is a result of just poor circulation and elimination. And those channels are blocked, and it begins, the genesis of this begins in the interstitial fluid. But once again, they're not testing the biochemistry of the interstitium fluids. So, but you can get ultrasounds, which anatomically will at least give you some evidence if there's any calci, blockage, from calcium deposits that
right.
are building up in that area. But here again, now we're back to the same advice. You need to be taking L-arginine max 4 times a day, once in the morning, once at night, and by itself, and 2 or 3 times during the day.
Mhm. Right. Um, the amount of recently I've been taking a little more of the flesh product than I have been, but I find I have to be really, really careful on how much of that I take. I noticed in my notes I took from you before, I wrote down, I don't know if it's what you said, but I think I wrote down 2 to 3 scoops. of flush.
Yeah,
Now,
that would probably be a heavy dose. You know,
yeah,
you could drop
yeah,
that down to 1 or 2. Yeah.
yeah. But you know, anyway, I think I mix it in when I take the 4 salts. Is that
No,
okay?
no, that's a separate supplement. They're completely in dichotomy to each other.
Okay, so that
For you know, you can't mix these things together. You know, they're separate things with separate purposes. Flush actually has magnesium in it in a form. It's
right,
magnesium oxide,
right.
but it also, you know, its purpose is to break things down, particularly undigested matter in the 9 yards of the intestine.
Mhm.
So this is not something that you do on a regular basis. But here again, now we're back to colon hydrotherapy infusions and alkalinity and improving circulation. So now we're talking about the alkalizing infusions into the rectum and then to the hemorrhoidal vein, and of course taking the L-arginine, you know, 4 times a day by itself. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But here again, if you need that extra help, that shouldn't be a problem if you're juicing or pureeing your foods. So everything is all pre-digested before you swallow it.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you need some extra help, just pop a few, you know, 2 to 3 capsules of the 4 salts with food to help bring up the alkalinity of the food, which takes stress off the cover cells of the stomach to produce sodium bicarbonate by pulling water, carbon dioxide, and salts from the blood. Anytime you
Right.
can support alkalinity, you take stress off the blood, and you take
So
stress.
I might be better off taking this 4 salts um, with um, with my food. I mean, I have the powder. I don't have capsules. Um,
You could take some of it with your food, you know, but you have to understand that generally food is has different pHs, generally under 7. So the you know, that's why people get hiccups. That's why they burp, you know, after they've eaten an acidic food, is the stomach is secreting alkalinity on that in the form of sodium bicarbonate. So that's a
yeah,
side effect that whatever you just got through eating, you did a human experiment on yourself.
mhm,
And when you add 4 salts in it, which has a pH of 8.4, in combination with food, you know, that could be running anywhere from 1.5 to 2 up to, you know, 5.5. Some is more alkaline than that. You know, the body and the stomach's purpose is to raise that alkalinity up to 8.4. The reason I recommend the capsule is it's time released. So it doesn't just release automatically. You know, it eventually breaks down. You know, we're talking about a veggie cap, a double op veggie cap that then releases, and it releases onto the acids that are in the stomach and also that are part of the breakdown of the food, which are.
well, yeah, maybe I'll have to get some capsules. Sometimes I take my 4 salts before.
Yeah, you can go to the store and buy your own capsules. They sell them in little packs, and you can fill them
Oh yeah,
yourself.
yeah, 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 yeah. Of
Yeah,
course.
so if you want to save time and money, you can do that. I don't usually suggest that, but you know, in your
So
case,
like
absolutely.
2 or 3 with a meal, then.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
You could start out with one just to see how you do. You may not need any more than just one.
Hmm.
But they do sell capsules
Right,
at good natural food stores if they're really,
right,
you know, legitimate, you know, trying
right,
to sell things that are helpful.
right.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure I could think of other questions. I know we did set this up for a half an hour, which we've got gone well over. I can make that up to you at some point. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no, you don't. No, you don't need to make up anything to me. I'm happy to contribute some of my time to help you out. I mean, that's it's not always about money, you know. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
that's
Well, I just wanted to say to you too. I've got it on my list here. It's a side thing, but I really appreciated your recent interview with Sasha Stone. That was dynamite. And I sent that to a couple of people, and one of my friends in particular, who I've been talking to about you, and she got herself a pH miracle, and she said, oh, she had to watch it a couple of times, and she took notes, and she sent it out to five different people that she knew, and
Mm-hmm.
but Sasha is quite a unique character, and
Yeah, he's definitely an enlightened soul. That's for example. He's not a new soul walking this planet. He's definitely an old soul, and he has a tremendous amount of wisdom and understanding beyond his physicality. His if you
yeah,
can see through the shell that holds his brilliance, his intelligence, his
right,
light. He's definitely someone to listen to.
yeah, and it's about as articulate as anybody I come across.
Yeah, well, he's not from here.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's a good way to put
Uh,
it. Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Anyway, yeah,
Well,
by the way, we're going to have another discussion. I think it's maybe February 27th, 28th, somewhere around there. So
mhm,
I mean, we have regular discussions, but it's just to keep up with what's going on because things are changing so rapidly.
right.
I mean, it's everything's sped up. I mean, it just what's happening is happening faster than I've ever seen.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. It's been very challenging for me to uh, sort of moderate myself in what it is I pay attention to with all of this stuff that's going on. The COVID, the vaccines, the election, this and that. All of that stuff.
well, I think you're safe
Uh,
by listening to people like Sasha Stone, listening
oh,
to
I yeah, I do, and I
listen.
don't
Have
go
you?
anywhere. I mean, I don't go anywhere else anymore. I mean, I don't go anywhere in any kind of
Are,
mainstream direction.
yeah, are you listening to Charlie Ward?
Yeah, all of those guys, Charlie
Yeah.
Ward. Yeah,
I mean, uh, you're not going
back.
to get a lot of confusion because these people have not been educated beyond their intelligence.
Yeah.
Dr. Martin's another one.
Mhm.
But a lot of people, you know, they have so much earthly, temporal knowledge that they can't get beyond, the propaganda, and really allow truth to emulate from them because they're smart people, but there's a difference between being smart and intelligence. If you look up in the dictionary the word intelligence, and not any dictionary, I'm talking about the Oxford Dictionary, intelligence, intel means within, and gents means knowledge. So it's the knowledge from within. It also there's another definition, means at the root of knowledge. That's the word radical. If you look at it, radical, I've been called radical.
Yeah.
I've been called a lot of things, but that's
So
one of
so
those
what?
radical. But if you look at the definition of radical in the Oxford Dictionary, you'll also find that it means at the root of truth. So I don't mind being called that radical
Mhm.
being, but no, I would listen to Sasha Stone, and he's an enlightened being, and uh, Dr. Martin and Dr. Ward, and
Simon Parks I listen to, and
yeah.
there's a couple other YouTube channels. Um, yeah.
But this is not their first rodeo.
Yeah.
This is not the first time. So
Yeah.
we move on, trying to help our brothers and sisters from around the world,
Mhm.
trying
Yeah.
to trying to wake people up. Okay.
Just another little sidebar, very much sidebar, is you mentioned the Oxford Dictionary a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I recently watched a movie on Netflix,
Yeah.
which there's not very many movies I would recommend on Netflix,
No, this is good.
but There was a recent movie. It was called The Professor and the Madman,
Yeah,
and it's a
yeah,
true.
that's it. Yeah,
Did you
that's
see it?
it. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Outstanding.
yeah,
Outstanding.
it's a great one. I love those historical dramas. That we hope is true, but it basically outlines this whole thing of putting this dictionary together and here again, a person that was not part of the cloth, that was not didn't wear the robes, didn't have the degrees behind their name, and yet he's the one. He's the one because of his intelligence seeking from within. You know, that light source, that spirit being that's here on Earth having a physical experience. He accessed his eternity of knowledge, to do what he actually did. And it was nice to see his wife also encouraging that process and being part of it.
Right, right. She went through an interesting transformation throughout the movie in terms of how she supported him.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
okay.
Well, it's
Yeah.
been great. Nice talking to you again, Rich. All the best to you and to your health and lots of love
Same.
and
Yeah, I'm glad
light
we
and
did. I'm glad to have that recording because I took a lot of notes last time, but I didn't get everything.
all
So,
right. Well, all the best. Take care and we'll
okay.
talk to you again soon.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you much.